Everybody's been telling me I need to play Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, so I did. And I'm actually really enjoying it, but what's up with the AI?
You chose the wrong stormtrooper.
What's going on, guys, and welcome to January's episode of Plus Club, the show where we play the games offered on PlayStation Plus throughout the month, and at the end of the month, we talk about it. My name's Seth. This is Chevy right here. Joining me, of course, Chevy. We just did a little TLG reacts of something I'm hoping doesn't get pulled off of YouTube. We covered the Horizon Forbidden West multiplayer leak, so make sure to go check that out, guys. But since then, how you doing? How you feeling? You ready to talk about the games we played in January? And yeah,
I'm doing okay, though I played them very early in the month, so I'm hoping I remember.
Yeah,
enough,
that's fair.
But, so I'll probably forget names here and there. You guys will just have to put up with me. Sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking about. I'm like, wait, so what's the story in Axiom Verge 2? I don't even remember. Blah blah blah. So yeah, it's been a while, but we'll talk about our opinions on it. But before we do that, let's jump into the games for February. Allegedly have been leaked. This could be inaccurate, but I've been looking all over the place, and everybody seems to think this is 100% fact. And yeah, let's check them out.
Subject to change. Okay.
Yeah. So apparently we're getting 4 games in February on PlayStation Plus. That's Ollie Ollie World, Mafia Definitive Edition, Evil Dead the Game, and Destiny Beyond Light. Destiny 2 Beyond Light. If this is true, what do we think?
Well, I know you guys wanted me to try Evil Dead, so I guess that would kind of force me to do that.
I hope, because I think this has crossplay, I hope I can play my account. If not, I'm going to play it for like 5 seconds on PS5 and then play it on PC.
Fair. I feel like, didn't we get Mafia before? Or was it a different Mafia?
Mafia 3.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've never played the original. I haven't played any of them besides the one that we did, for Plus Club way back. But so that one will be interesting.
This one's actually a huge redux of the original too, because I've played the original Mafia. I owned this on PC, and it's quite a difference. So it'll be interesting to see what you think of it.
I don't know what Ollie Ollie World is, but I'm assuming skateboarding. So
yeah, it's the only game of these 4 I haven't played, and so I'm very interested in trying that. But last year, it always popped up on best indie game discussions all over the place. So
interesting.
I'll definitely be curious to see what all the fuss was about.
Yeah, I agree. I like, especially when I don't know anything about it, getting surprised by indie games. Destiny 2 Beyond Light. I hate playing this game on controller, so this will, if it's true, I'll put my time in. I already have an account over there and all that. I think I actually have them all linked now. I would prefer to play this on PC, but that's fine. I don't think I'll be surprised, but we'll see.
I think we already covered Destiny 2 for Plus Club. That's actually how we got into playing it.
Yeah.
And so my review of this is going to be pretty small.
Yeah.
Pretty quick, because I'm not going to dive into Destiny 2 again in detail, but it'll be interesting to kind of see where the game's at now.
Agreed.
Because I actually played this like a month and a half ago.
I also haven't played on PS5 yet. I played it on PS4. So.
Yeah. Hopefully it feels better on there, because it felt it felt fine, but kind of sluggish on PS4. So
yeah, I'm just not used to playing shooters on a joystick anymore. So
yeah,
I will be terrible.
Gotta buy yourself a DualSense Edge. I gotta get my hands on one of those.
I don't play my console enough.
Yeah, makes sense. So this month is looking really good to me. Very high value, because I've played 3 of these games. Destiny 2, I'll be interested in just seeing what's going on with it, I guess. But yeah, I'm not going to be putting, that's going to be my lowest priority game. Mafia, I never beat the definitive edition, so it'll be interesting to play this. Although I feel like this is going to be most of these games in February, if this is true. I'm probably going to play it a little bit on PS5 to see how it plays, so I can review it, accordingly to how the PS5 plays. But if I'm going to continue playing, I'll probably play it on PC. And then same thing with Evil Dead, the game. I'll see how it plays on console. But I've played that quite a bit on PC. I'm not going to devote time to leveling up characters on console, unless I can play my account. That'd be great. That'd be very nice, because it does. I think it has crossplay. I think it does. So, but Ollie World is definitely the most interesting out of these four for me, because I haven't played it. So that'll give me an opportunity to review something that's brand new. Otherwise, it's just like, here's games you own, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm playing those in February.
I mean, that's bound to happen when you play a bunch of stuff, though. So
yeah. Oh yeah. I play too many games. Every single month for PlayStation Plus, there's like a game I own. I'm like, fuck. So, but then there's those games that I'm curious about and I don't pull the trigger on that I get to play. So I always appreciate the surprise of that. So,
true.
Anything else you want to say on this?
We'll see if they're real. So
yeah, this could be completely fake, but everybody seems to think this is legit. So we'll find out, I think, very soon. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think about this. Take it with a grain of salt, of course. But if you think it's real, does this look like a good lineup? I'm going to tell you right now, it's a pretty good lineup. You should definitely check these out if they are real. Really on PlayStation Plus. And yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. All right, so the games we played in January were Fallout 76, Axiom Verge 2, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Let's probably start with Axiom Verge 2. Okay. If you didn't get a chance to play Axiom Verge 2, it is a Metroid-like game. I don't remember the story, but you essentially go from sections that go up, down, left, right on the map. It's a 2D perspective game where you run around, you fight enemies, you find items that allow you to access new areas and new ways to play, very much like Metroid. You do a lot of backtracking in this game, you do a lot of exploration in this game, and there's a lot of weird abilities, a lot of hacking tools, or not hacking tools, there's a lot of hacking stuff in this game, which is interesting, and very, very unforgiving respawns. We both played it. And Chevy, what were your thoughts of Axiom Verge 2 in January?
Okay. Honestly, I don't know if I'll have a lot to say about this, but initial impressions, the pixel art is good. This game is much different looking than I remember the first one looking, though it has been a while, so maybe my memory's cloudy on that. The formula is exactly what I expected, and I wasn't necessarily thinking I'd be surprised, but I didn't know if they'd bring something kind of like new to the Metroidvania genre. It's pretty much exactly what it's supposed to be in that regard. For whatever your preference is in that regard. So.
One thing they added that I thought kind of changes things up a bit, it's a small touch, but it's something that feels a little modern, is you get to level things up, which I appreciated, because I'm going to be honest, and it's going to go into my review. This is the epitome of not for me. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but because there was progression, I was like, okay, that's cool. I can actually level things up, become more powerful. So I like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to say a whole lot about this. I liked that, you can go into different buildings and stuff like that. You can find little tidbits of lore. I like stuff like that in games. There were, the stereotypical, you can't go here yet, so you're going to have to return when you get, set ability to do so. This is rough. It's very, very much exactly what you would expect of this type of game. So
yeah, there's not a whole lot of surprises to it.
I don't really have any strong feelings because there was no surprises. It was a fine experience. I'm also not a huge fan of this genre. Every once in a while, when I'm in the mood, I could play a game like this, but I find myself, it's like a one-day venture, and then I just like never revisit them. In fact, the last time I even remember playing one of these in any length was probably Castlevania Symphony of the Night. and they've all just kind of felt the same sense, really. So
Yeah, games like this are just trying to capture their passion for Metroidvania style games, and this game is so shameless in that. Not in a negative way, but it's you can tell it very much is influenced by Metroid and wants to be like Metroid. And I think they do a really good job on offering an experience like that that feels like its own thing as well. Like this doesn't feel exactly like Metroid, but it's so heavily inspired by it.
Yeah. Just to have like, I guess some actual opinions about it. Visually looks good. The music was fine. The sound effects are pretty good. The controls were tight. They played, well, which is good. I just had a hard time being excited about it. So
Yeah, I'll go into my impressions because I feel pretty passionate about this.
okay.
So I'm going to preface this to anybody who is a fan of Axiom Verge or Axiom Verge 2, and I've never played the first one, so I'm not talking about that. If you like this game, I'm happy for you. And take what I say with a grain of salt. I didn't play this game a whole lot, but I felt pretty confident about how I feel about it early on. And so, yeah, this is just my opinion, but I don't like this game. And it's not because it's a bad game. This is just not a game for me. I'm already not a huge fan of 2D side-scrolling games. Of course, I have the nostalgia of older ones that I grew up playing, because those are great, but I don't play a whole lot of them nowadays. And there's, of course, some really good ones like Dead Cells. I love Dead Cells. But that doesn't do much for me. And Metroidvania style games are typically not my jam because I don't like the backtracking nature of them, the figuring out environmental puzzle stuff is not super exciting for me. And so playing this game, and there's nothing wrong with it, for the most part, felt like a chore for me to play. It was kind of crazy. I didn't expect to feel like this because I've heard nothing but great things about Axiom Verge. And so I started playing this, and there's ideas there that I'm like, man, if you like these games, you probably love this for sure. But I tried to play this game 3 separate times. I played it the first time for a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna go play something else. But I'm like, I gotta play it some more. I gotta have more to say about it. So I played it more, slogged through it. I was like, I'm going to go play something else. And then yesterday, I sat down and played it for probably about another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Didn't get very far, but yeah, I have an opinion on it. So I'm confused by this game, and maybe it gets better later. Please let me know. If the game gets like awesome later and I should keep playing it, let me know. But combat doesn't feel good. To me, it feels really stiff. It feels old school, so that's fine. It is supposed to feel like that, but that's not a thing that's keeping me playing it. When you fight even the beginning robots, you hit them like 3 times and they die. It takes 3 hits, but they're like running all over the place. They're going crazy. It's not like a super agile feeling game either, where you're like jumping around and dodging. It's like super stiff in that as well. So every combat encounter feels clunky to me, and it feels old school. But like I could play something like Dead Cells and have more fun with it because it's a more fluid experience. Searching environments is interesting. And when you find something new, it is like, oh shit, what does this do now? Like when you get the boomerang, or when you get the hacking tool, or when you get any of these things that allow you to do new things, it does open up a whole new door, which is obviously the appeal to games like this. And I can acknowledge I like that to a certain degree, but you have to explore some pretty big open areas with just enemies who are mercilessly just trying to destroy you nonstop. And you're trying to fight them. And like I said, I don't like the combat. I don't think it's very fun. It might get better later when you get new stuff. But early on, I kind of hated the way it felt. And so I'm like running around fighting all these dudes that I don't even like. The combat's not fun. I'm not having fun fighting these guys just to find like one item that changes up how I can get around, which is interesting. But yeah, it wasn't a fun experience for me. I went down into like the water area, the underwater area, and you get an ability where you can move around in water better. And that started feeling better when it came to movement down there. But I hated traversing down there and exploring. It's just cluttered and like not interesting, and everything's just attacking you nonstop while you're like looking for one item. And then, you go up into the mountains where you start like hacking stuff. That was kind of interesting, but at the same time, like it just felt like a slog. I guess there's a boss up there too. I didn't fight him. And yeah, I leveled up, I think once or twice. I was able to, or not level up. You get these things that you can put into skill points, and that was interesting as well. But it didn't change up the combat for me in a way that made it interesting. The soundtrack is like fine. I don't think the visual style is that great. It's fine. It works. But there's so many pixel games out there that it doesn't really stand out a whole lot to me. I do think it's neat that there's like a lot of lore and story going on, even though I didn't pay attention to it a whole lot. And you can go into buildings and read notes and stuff like that. That's an interesting thing. But yeah, overall, I'm not going to keep like just droning on about this. This game is just straight up just not for me. It's not a quality thing. It's not. I'm not even claiming anything negative about the game outside of I do think the combat feels clunky as fuck, but that could get better later as you get new abilities. I got one where you just blow up and kill things all around you. I was using that pretty often just because it was like an easy like get away from me move. But I didn't want to do that every time I fought things, and I didn't want to fight things. So it was a weird situation to be in. But a lot of really cool ideas though. A lot of really cool visual things they do with like the particle effects. But overall, the gameplay was just not for me at all. But like I said before, I feel like if you like this genre, you probably really like this game because it very much wants you to explore and find the items that allow you to go to places you couldn't go before. Even like an upgrade where you can hang off the side of cliffs opens up like being able to climb things. And that was the most interesting thing for me. I think if the combat was more fun and maybe it gets better, I'd be less judgmental about this game, but I really, really fucking hated fighting things in this game. It didn't feel good. I was like, am I supposed to fight things or am I just like a victim in this game? Am I supposed to just get attacked nonstop and I can't really fight off things? Is this a survival horror game? I don't know. It was really weird. It was a really weird experience for me because as you guys know, I'm pretty open to like all games and I can find fun in most games, but this game I just cannot find a whole lot of fun in. And again, not out of lack of quality. The game is fine. It's well made. And I think it's delivered as well as it's supposed to be. So it's just not for me. It's not for me. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with the sentiment of it not being for you. Cause obviously like, this kind of game has its audience, and I'm also not really I have to really be in the mindset to play something like this, and that's just not very often. Even when I was playing, I was like, oh god, I could be doing something else. So, and it's not necessarily the game's fault. It's definitely a preference. So,
yeah, I think they nailed it. It's just has a bunch of stuff I'm not into in it. So, and typically when we do Plus Club, Game of the Month, stuff like that, I think last month you played a game that you just like outright played for like a couple minutes and you're like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, that was that weird multiplayer game or versus game. I hated that.
Oh, Divine Knockout?
Yeah.
Yeah, you barely played that just because it wasn't, you got the gist and you're like, yeah.
I hated it. Yeah.
I forced myself to play this more than I would, just because I want to be able to talk about it. But this was very rare for me situation where I'm just like, I'm going to uninstall this as soon as I can. So,
yeah.
So anyway, let's jump into recommendations.
Okay.
If you're into Metroid or Metroid style games, Castlevania style games, check this out. If you're into 2D platformers, check it out. If you like, I guess challenging games, it felt challenging, but it felt challenging for me in the sense that I thought movement and combat wasn't good. If you like games that kind of play with retro style and design but have modern takes on it, I would say check this out because this does have some cool particle effects that happen in the game. The hacking is interesting. I like that you can hack robots, and some of them you have like choices on what you want them to do. There's creativity there and stuff that kind of gives you options in certain situations that they definitely deserve praise for. It's a cool idea. I think that's all I got.
I think
exploration. If you like exploration games, this game demands that you are an explorer.
I mean, that's par for course for the genre, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it with the design thing. The only thing I was going to add was pixel games, and you kind of already you kind of said that. So, I mean, otherwise, I think you nailed it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into grades. I think that the quality and gameplay of this game is a B plus, but my like for it is a C minus. So I'm going to give it a very, very strong C plus. I hope I've made this clear that I think the game is fine, great, quality's good, but just not for me. So the balance between those two things, I think I'm going to give it a very, very strong C plus. So that's where I'm at on that.
I have a very similar vibe, except for I didn't dislike it as much, it seems. So I'm going to give it a B minus. Game's fine. I think it is a little too old-fashioned, though, for me. And it makes it hard for me to want to go any higher. So
yeah. I felt like it deserves a B minus as well, but like the fact that I straight just never want to play this game again, unless someone tells me I should, I'll continue to play it. I'm open-minded, but the fact that I just like don't want to play it, I normally don't feel like that from a game. So it's really, really weird. So yeah. So B minus and C plus.
Yep.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. What do you guys think of Axiom Verge 2? Are you a fan of it? Are you not a fan of it? Did you play it? And what do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to Axiom Verge 2. Next game we played this month was Fallout 76. If you didn't get a chance to play that, it is a survival multiplayer game in the Fallout universe. You come out of a Vault 76, and you are thrust into the world of Fallout and the engine of Fallout and the Bethesda designs of Fallout, where you explore, do missions. There's NPCs in this game, in this build, so that's good, because I know when this game came out, it didn't have that. And yeah, you find weapons, you find loot, you're able to build at your camp anywhere, mostly. There's towns, different locations, a narrative. You make your own character. My guy's name was, oh God. Oh no, I forgot his last name. His name's Baby the Blade. I forgot his last name though, but that's my character. And so yeah, I made him. And yeah, there's perks. There are cards, which is a really interesting system we'll talk about, I'm sure. And you can play with your friends. I think there's like 18 people on a server. I don't remember.
or instance or whatever they're doing.
Yeah. We both played it, and I will go first this time. So I'm pretty much on the same page as most people at my apprehension of wanting to play Fallout 76 after its launch. I did play it out of curiosity because I got suggested to play it by a lot of people over on TikTok a couple months ago, and try to play it on PC, and I just couldn't get into it. So this month was interesting, forcing myself to play it for the show. And I gotta say plainly, there's things I really like about this game and things I really don't like about this game. It was a really confusing experience. And I don't know if I'll be able to list everything, because constantly when I was playing this game, I'm like, man, I don't like that. Man, I really like that. Man, I hate that. Man, I really love that. And so the whole time I was just like, man, this game's weird. First off, let's start with the visuals. I think the game is horrendous looking. It's clean. It's smooth looking, but it's definitely dated looking. Movement is Bethesda. Everything's Bethesda in this. And what I mean by that is, like, if you played Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion back in the day, this plays like that. But Fallout. So it took a little bit to get used to that. The button layout's also really weird. Even after playing this game for like, I think I played this game for like 30 hours. I put a lot of time into this, which is kind of crazy. So if you're thinking like, oh, you barely played it. No, I played it quite a bit. And like, I think I hit level 30. But I still was not used to the button layout, like to access certain menus. I think one's like circle, one's like touchpad. And I would always hit the other one constantly. So it's got a really weird button layout, which is not, a negative. It's just weird that they chose to do that. But yeah, anyway, combat's fine. You can shoot things. I think the aiming's super sluggish. I don't think that's a controller thing. The controller doesn't help, but I can play Call of Duty on a controller just fine. So it's not me and a console thing. It's the game is just sluggish feeling. But once I got used to it, I did fine. I was getting pretty good at shooting things and hitting where I was aiming pretty quickly. So that was an adapt thing. One thing I'm going to give them a positive to is everyone knows in Fallout you got the VAT system. And in an RPG where you're playing by yourself, you get to pause the game or at least slow it down by a lot. And you get to aim for limbs. And that has been one of my favorite things about the Fallout series ever since Bethesda took it on. They don't really make shooters. They don't make shooters very well, but they do make RPGs and systems pretty good, I think. So that's something I've always really liked. But how do you adapt that to a multiplayer game where other people are playing on the same server? Well, they have essentially a lock on. You hit the VATS button in this, and it locks on to somebody in real time, and then you can aim for the limbs to slow them down, shoot them in the legs so they're moving slow, shoot them in the arm, shoot them in the head, and you get percentages in real time. And you get pretty used to that. And I kind of like the way they did it. I think it's a smart system because you have to have VATS. They have it, but they did it in real time because it's the only way you can do it. And I think it's a good compromise, especially with my character's build. I forgot what the stat is that allows you to use VATS, but I have a lot of that. And so I was able to run in a room, hit VATS real quick to lock onto a dude and just shoot him in the head really quickly, which I thought was a fun system. So yeah, VATS is cool. Shooting's okay. Movement and gameplay is archaic feeling. It feels old as shit. The world's detailed though. I'll give them that. Exploring the world I actually enjoyed. Cities are towns are dense. It's nice that there's NPCs in the game as well, because I guess when the game came out, it didn't have NPCs. And the whole time I was playing this, I was like, I cannot imagine this world with no NPCs. You're just running around freely with other people and just making your own story. I'm sure that would have been fine, but this game needed to have that RPG feel, and it does now. So I'm going to give them that. That's good. But yeah, I enjoyed exploring the world. It's super varied. There's a theme park up north. There's a swamp area that I hate. I was running through the woods. I found this huge, elaborate, I don't know, an obstacle course in the trees. They have to go up, and at the very end there's something, but I was never able to get to it. I tried a couple times because you just keep going and it gets harder and harder until there's just little things you got to jump on. You would have hated it because you hate platforming. But I thought that was neat that it was even there. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed exploring the world. The camp system's interesting. You can tell early on they're we're using our engine, so it's going to be hard to just build anywhere you want at all times, playing something like Ark or Conan Exiles, where you can just free build anywhere. But they're trying to figure out a system where you can do that, especially with other people playing on the same server. And so they allow you to have a circular area where you can build in, and you can move that camp at all times. Which is an interesting thing. It's not preferable. It's not something that I would want from a game like this, but I think it's a fair enough compromise. And as a person who was not a big fan of Fallout 4 and the building of Fallout 4, I feel like this is a better system than Fallout 4. And I think it's a more refined system. So it seems like they've learned some things from that game. And I kind of liked it. I kind of liked being able to put down a camp, be able to fast travel there at all times, be able to build stuff there. We actually got into a habit as we were playing together, because I think we had 4 or 5 of us playing together, where somebody would just throw down a camp and throw down a storage box and a bunch of the crafting things. We would all do our stuff and then pack up camp and just keep moving. So it's not realistic, but it is, as a gameplay feature, kind of interesting to be able to do that. And so I kind of liked it, although it's not the best thing ever. Let's see. Leveling's interesting because you get cards, which is weird. Every time you level, you get to buy a card, and that puts 1 point into that stat. But then at certain points in leveling, I think level 5 or 10, I don't remember, you get a pack of cards and you get extras. And that's the way you upgrade your cards, is you get multiple cards of the same kind, combine them, and you turn it into a 1, 2, or 3 ranked version of that, increasing the stats of it. And then you equip those into the category of the stat that it uses, and they give you perks, which is interesting. It's an interesting system. Everybody who played this game, including myself, was confused by it at first, but then once it clicks, it makes sense. So it's I actually really liked it. I think it's a good system. It didn't feel just like a traditional leveling system. There was some creativity to it, some build aspect to it. So I liked that. Like I said before, systems in this game I think are pretty good. I enjoyed the RPG element of it. I also enjoyed the multiplayer aspect of it. Didn't run into one troll. Never saw one. I heard this game's full of trolls. Never saw one. I think everybody who's playing this game still is probably hardcore into it, and they're not interested in trolling people. But even with it coming out on PlayStation Plus, I expected to run into some like level 1 or level 3 troll who's like, oh, I don't know what to do, and starts
Doesn't have to be at least 5.
Something like that. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I didn't even see anybody like try to figure out a way to troll me. They would always just run by or wave at me or something. So that was good. But the multiplayer experience was pretty decent. We all got in and we're playing together and running around doing missions. The beginning's kind of a slog because you have to go through like some tutorial quests, and everybody was hopping into the game at different times doing those tutorial quests. So there's a lot of like waiting for people to catch up so we could all play together. But once we could, I had a lot of fun with that. Everybody had different builds. Everybody was using different weapons. This game actually makes melee weapons viable. So like Josh was able to like run in and hit people up close while, you know, I was in the background. Me and you would typically be in the back like shooting, and then like Psycho and Josh would be up close fighting enemies. And I actually had a lot of fun running around with you guys doing that. In fact, I had so much fun doing that when I tried to play this game solo, I didn't enjoy it. This is a game, and people told me this. People were like, the game's fun with friends. I'm like, is it in every game? But playing this, it's like having friends to have banter with while playing this and having the different kinds of builds fighting enemies. When that's gone, it feels like a chunk of this game's missing. And so I think the real bread and butter to this game is that it is a multiplayer Fallout experience. And so that's my preferable way to play it. I tried to play it solo a couple times, and I started getting kind of like sleepy and fucking, I'm like, okay, I'm leveling, whatever. But yeah, playing with people is a lot of fun. Exploring things, looking for stuff, exchanging stuff. It was nice because like some people weren't using the same gun as me, so like people just dump their ammo that they found for me and vice versa. So there's a really good community aspect to this game that definitely deserves some credit. Yeah, I could probably keep talking about this game. One last thing I'll say is quest structure is fine. It feels like a Bethesda game. So if you like questing in Bethesda games, this has that in a multiplayer setting, and I think that's pretty cool. And so, yeah, to kind of put it into a small package, technically this game's not great. It's still on that goddamn engine that Bethesda's been using since goddamn 1997. It suffers from a lot of archaic design that I'm worried Starfield might have as well. And yeah, that's not great. And the game looks like whatever, but I also think it's a super detailed and interesting world to explore. So on a technical level, graphics aren't great, but the world I liked looking at. But where the game does shine is the RPG mechanics, the features, and the multiplayer, which I really liked. And I was able to put easily like 30 hours into the game when we were playing. But when I was playing alone, I didn't want to play it. So very conflicting and weird view on the game. So yeah. What'd you think?
I did not play it for 30 hours. I played that one night with you guys, but let's see. I agree with the leveling system. I do like that. I hate that I didn't really understand too well, which I'm sure there was a tutorial, but obviously it didn't grab my attention. So it's a game design problem at that point. But
it is a problem because a bunch of people went through the same tutorial. We got like the test study there in front of us. All the people they played with went through the same tutorial, and everyone came out with different knowledge. Because what happens in this game is without a sound, it's just a message will pop up in the top right corner while you're doing things, and it says tutorial shit, but like it's easy not to notice it because it's just
especially
silent.
if you're in voice chat with a bunch of people, you're not going to be paying attention to every little pop up. So,
exactly.
Outside of the education on how to use it, once I learned how to use it, I appreciate the system, and the reason I appreciate it is because I like systems that kind kind of force you to make decisions based off of certain things. So maybe you're kind of forced out of your comfort zone a little bit to play a little differently. A good example is when games force you to have weaknesses and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff. And in this, where you have to pick things that can only go into each stat, depending on how you level them and whatnot, I like that kind of stuff. So, so that system I liked a lot, and I would like to see them do something similar maybe in the future.
I just like the like when you're playing a single player Bethesda style game, specifically Fallout, that there's perks that really change your character from other people. So like Josh was able to like eat just like raw meat and stuff without having any negative issues with that. Whereas the rest of us, we would have to cook meat. So his guy was like this like, melee fucking savage dude who's just eating raw meat, and it made him feel different than like my dude who was like all crit damage with guns. And what is the fucking stat that allows you to do action points, AP? I just had a shitload of AP, so I could use abilities and all sorts of stuff a lot. So very good diversity in builds.
Yeah. And the other thing I liked about it was that, which you can find a lot of games, but in this case, playing a game multiplayer with your friends in a big world where you can go on quests and get loot and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff in games. That's kind of where my positives end, though. I don't really enjoy Bethesda's game design, so it was hard for me to play this game even with people, because I was enjoying the adventure with you guys, but I was getting frustrated by the game constantly while playing it.
Yeah.
I hate the UI like with a passion. I want a mini map. I don't like compasses. I think that's awful. The menu systems are clunky and a pain in the ass to go through. And I get it, they're thematic, and it's like if you're like trying to live that experience, it's probably great for you. It's not for me. I think the shooting feels meh. The VATS is creative, but I didn't like using it. The camp thing was bonkers to me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever touch this game again. I do think there's an audience for it, so I don't want to shit on it too much, because I just don't think it's designed for me. I haven't really enjoyed Bethesda's game design in a while, so I hope a future game can get me more invested with maybe some fresh ideas that they decide to cook up or whatnot. But I just feel like I'm playing the same game every time I play one of their games. So it was okay. I like some of the elements of it, and like funny enough, system stuff. But gameplay wise, I just wasn't having fun. So
yeah, I get that, because like I said, I was mixed. I think I really liked certain things and really didn't like certain things. So it's like a really interesting experience, especially because like you said, you haven't really liked a Bethesda game in a while, and like for anyone who doesn't know, the last Bethesda games that I was like super stoked about was like Fallout 3, Oblivion, Morrowind's my favorite game they've made, and I thought Skyrim was okay. And I know that's everybody's favorite, so be nice. But they got into this groove where like all their games are like the same feeling, and they became kind of like watered down and less mechanic heavy and less RPG like, and more actiony. So to play this and actually enjoy myself to a certain degree with people is definitely a positive, considering I've just been checked out on Bethesda for a long time now, and especially with how this game launched. I'm glad we played it like this and not the original build, because I've seen plenty on that, and I heard plenty on it, especially the no NPC thing. The game has come a long way, but yeah, there's a lot to like and dislike about this game for sure. But I get it. I get now when people are telling me. I had a lot of people telling me they enjoyed the game, but I had a lot of people telling me they enjoy playing with friends, and I agree. I could not. If this was a single player RPG, I would not play it. Even with the stuff I like about it, the multiplayer aspect is the driving factor of this game, and it's fun.
Well, even with my distaste, I can look at it and see why people would play it. For sure.
Same.
For sure. I just, it does nothing for me. So
I was even telling my opinion is so weird because like I was telling Josh, he's like, well, we could just play this on PC, and I'm like, I'm not buying this on PC. Like, this is where I'm at. If you don't want to play it on console, then I guess we're not playing it, because like I've put this amount of time into the console version and I don't like this game enough to buy it on PC. But if somebody wants to play it, everyone wants to hop on and play it, like I'll play it on PS5. Fuck it. Like it's fine enough on there, but I'm not like passionate about this game enough to like start over and play it somewhere else.
for sure.
So yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that about covers it.
Yeah. So recommendations.
I mean, if you like Bethesda games, I think you should give it a shot. If you like Fallout, if you like Western RPGs, pseudo survival style games, looting, shooting,
Multiplayer
multiplayer,
with your friends.
post-apocalyptic style games, character customization,
Character builds.
character builds. Yeah.
I mean, we could pretty much just say if you like Western RPGs and Western RPGs that are multiplayer
Yeah.
with survival elements. So if you like games like Ark and Conan and you want like a more mild version of that as survival, it's definitely worth checking out, I think,
Yeah.
at this point, which is so weird for me to say it's worth checking out now, because I had the mindset before where I'd be like, I'm not going to tell you to play that shit. But
Yeah,
now I think I would.
Maybe it's definitely in a state that if you had any curiosity at any point in time, you should probably check it out.
Yeah.
Regardless of my feelings on it, it is a playable game. So,
Yeah.
and if it is in your interest, check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Kind of just hopped in there with you and started adding stuff to it because I do think it's a game worth playing and checking out if you're into that kind of thing. So let's jump into grades, though. I went first last time, so you go ahead and grade it.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a flip flop, I feel like, but I'm going to give it a C plus for basically the reasons I said before. I think the game plays fine. It's just not for me, and I was actively not enjoying myself while playing it, so I can't go too high. But I also have to acknowledge that the game was doing what it was supposed to do, minus that weird moment where we got kicked out of the game. But networking is complicated, and they're kind of new to it, so
Yeah, that was
we will
weird.
give them some leeway on that.
Yeah, so the server was going down for two of us, and straight up just kicked me and Josh out. And then we tried to join. It's like, server's going down. But then, like, Psycho said he hopped on like 5 minutes later, and the server never went down.
Went down, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
And we looked it up too, and there's no info on it. So I'm like,
Yeah, it was strange. But yeah, it's fine. So C plus.
yeah. I'm going to give it a really, really strong, really solid B. I can't go B plus. I kind of want to, but I can't. Because like I said, like there's a huge caveat to this game for me. I have to play with friends. But playing with friends was fun. And I would play this game more, like for sure, if people are on. I'm not playing this by myself. There's other games I could devote this kind of time to level up characters or whatever in something else that I'm more passionate about. But if there's some, if like Josh and Psycho and I don't know, Sarah wanted to hop on and play this, I'd be like, yeah, I'll play it. It's fun enough. So I think it's in a good state. It's in a place where I can tell somebody like, yeah, if that sounds cool to you, like a multiplayer Fallout, that's exactly what it is. So check it out. It's in a decent state, works. It's a little confusing at some points, so make sure to be reading everything. But yeah, I had fun. I liked it. So that's weird. B, really strong B. All right, well, let us know in the comments. What did you guys think of Fallout 76? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you not play it? And if you didn't play it, was it because of what you have heard about the game before? I had apprehension on the game as well because I was like, that game launched horribly. So let me know in the comments if you're one of those people. I would say check it out if you're curious about it now, because I think it's in a playable state. And if you do play it, what do you think of it? Do you agree about the friend thing? I heard so many people saying that, and I also agree with that. So, yeah, if you play the game a lot, what do you love about it? And let me know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to Fallout 76. Last game we played in January was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, this is a action-adventure, Souls-like inspired Star Wars game where you play as a character named Cal Kestis, who is a Padawan who survived Order 66, and he is in hiding, but eventually has the Empire hunting him down while he runs from temple to temple, learning new moves and trying to figure out his situation. So yeah, third-person action game, lock-on combat, and you learn abilities as you go. We both played this, and Chevy, how about you start us off with your impressions of Jedi Fall? I always forget the name. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order in January.
Okay. So, I mean, your first impressions, the visuals are pretty good. I think they did a good job in that, especially in like the cutscene department. I think they did a good job playing out scenes. They were choreographed well. They were done well. I think the voice acting is pretty good. I think the game plays okay. I do think there's some weird control stuff in there, like having to jump and then hit a button to grip walls. I think is a kind of a weird choice, but whatever.
Yeah, L2.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I couldn't wrap my head around it the whole time playing it. I keep like I'd start to fall and I was like, oh crap, I gotta hit the stupid button. But whatever, you know, it's something you just have to get used to playing it. I just think it was a weird design choice. As far as like being a Jedi or a lightsaber wielder in the game, it felt pretty good. Being able to deflect shots, block, dodge. I think what's the first ability you get? It's like
stasis.
Something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
where you slow shit down.
It made sense and it was a good gameplay mechanic as well. Variety of different types of creatures to fight, which was nice. I like that there are little like offshoots you can kind of sneak down and find like loot and stuff like that with little mini bosses. That was kind of neat. Just in game design wise, I think they did a pretty good job in that regard. The environments look pretty good, though they are very much easy to read on like where you're supposed to go, what's climbable and stuff.
That
it's a little
first
weird.
area I hated. Yeah. Like that was a bad impression early on when I was playing it, because like you're running around this like cliffy, grassy area and everything's so linear feeling, which is fine because it's not an open world game,
Sure.
but like it felt too pathed. Like it's like take a left to do the boss or keep going forward to go down the main area. And I was like, the gameplay here is pretty good. Sorry, I'm just jumping in, but I'm thinking about that now and I'm like, the gameplay is good. And like, I like the exploration. It feels kind of like a Dark Souls game in the sense of like, you'll find like a shortcut, be able to connect certain areas, but it felt like too linear in the first area. But then when I got to the second area, it got better. So that was just something that at first I'm like, man, the game's got some cool stuff, but also I kind of hate the environment. But that was that planet.
Well, and the thing I was going to bring up with that is I don't have a problem with like obvious paths and like, every, action game you get used to, I can climb on that. I can, walk that way. I can't walk through that. That's just something you get used to, but I don't think it's blended very well. Yeah. So it's like, it stands out a little too much. It's kind of a weird nitpick.
I felt like I was running through a stage in Sonic, but just at a slow pace.
Yeah. I didn't progress much further than that stage, so I can't talk with other levels. So this might not be the case for this game. And this isn't really like a heavy thing. I want to bring it up because it was noticeable, at least in that stage. I think puzzles are fine. They're not like overly frustrating, at least in the beginning of the game. The little robot companion is very fitting for the Star Wars, thing. I would be kind of surprised if you didn't get one at this point in a Star Wars game.
What'd you think of the customization? There's a shitload of stuff. Maybe you didn't interact with it a lot, but like you get
a little bit.
You get to build your own lightsaber piece by piece, and you find pieces for that. There's like your poncho, your outfit, your starship,
I saw that too.
BD1 or where the hell its name is. You get to decorate that guy. There's a lot of customization in this game. I wasn't expecting that.
No, and I didn't delve too deep into it, but I always appreciate that stuff being there. So yeah, I mean, that's a positive for sure, especially because if you're making, your version of that story, I kind of like that. Plus a lot of action Star Wars games have always been like kind of about choice anyways, though I think a lot of that comes from playing like Knights of the Republic and stuff like that. So, overall, I think it's a pretty okay game. I don't have a love for the source material, so, it just kind of feels like an action game to me. So I think that maybe there's like a nostalgia thing that's not going to happen for me playing this game. So, I mean, it felt okay. I think for Star Wars fans, it's probably a lot more fun. But overall, I have pretty positive things. I do think it feels a little too systematic at times in level design and in gameplay. But So that's kind of nitpicky. I'm not really bashing on it. So
Yeah.
it was fine. Yeah.
I also feel mixed on this one. Not quite to the same extent of like Fallout, but it was confusing because like this game is AAA as shit for the most part, but then some things are really janky. And it feels like a AAA company's first game, which is a weird thing to say because you got to build up to be AAA. But like, I kept thinking about like, why does it feel like a small dev tried to make a game, and I'm trying to go like, well, you know, they tried, but they didn't really have the budget. But then I'm looking at like these gorgeous vistas. I think the graphics are really good. Great animations and shit. I'm like, they couldn't figure that out. Like, what the hell's going? Like, there's so much clipping, people disappearing. The AI breaks in this game all the time. I have footage. If you guys want to see that, I had a stormtrooper just like staring at me, going like, "Oh, I'll get you. I'm gonna get you." And then I hit him, and then he started fighting me again. And that happened 3 different times. One time, this guy walked up to me, started floating in front of me. His feet were like at my chest level, and he's just staring down at me. And I'm just like, are we done fighting? What's going on? So it's got all these weird things in it. But then I look at other things, and I'm like, they put money into this. They got the dev. I mean, Respawn made this. Respawn, I have so much respect for Respawn. And the games that they've made and the legacy of Vincent Pella and all the shit that he's done. So it's just interesting to see. But then I think about, they haven't really made a third-person action game before. So this is kind of like Cyberpunk in that CD Projekt Red had only made like third-person RPGs, and then they tried a first-person game and obviously had some issues. And then this feels kind of like, you know, they make first-person shooters. They made a third-person action game. It's got some jank to it, but it also has like really good visuals and really good. I think the combat's good. It gets better as you level up. I just kind of want to throw it out there because there's a lot of things I was kind of confused about. Because there's a lot of like small things here too. Like they're trying to revolutionize in this game, going through cracks. Like the age old fucking loading trick where you squeeze between areas in games. That's been around since like PS3 and stuff like that. But there's parts where like he'll like duck while doing that or jump over things. And like these are small details they didn't have to add for stuff like this. And even in one, he had BD. I don't know if his name is BD1. I feel like that's his name. The robot. He had the robot on his back. And there's a part where the crack got even tighter, and the robot got up on his shoulder, and he was able to squeeze through that.
Yeah.
And those kind of details, I'm like, this is AAA. Like this is what makes the difference between like a normal game and a AAA game is that they have the resources and the ability to do that kind of small thing. And so I appreciate that. But yeah, a bunch of weird jank. Like I said, I saw a lot of clipping. In this footage you guys are watching, I was in like an elevator, and as it's going up, you can see the wall from outside, the rock wall just coming through the wall constantly. And I'm like, that could look better. Like everything looks great in here. And I'm seeing that. It's really jarring. So anyway, starting from the beginning, it's a good looking game. I think it's a really good looking game. I think the main character looks like a dork, but that's fine. He doesn't have to look cool. Also, did you see his run? That is the weirdest run I've ever seen in a game. He runs with his knees outward, but his legs are inward. So he almost looks like a robot.
I apparently didn't pay that much attention to his legs.
Dude, it's wild. Looks like he has a stick in his ass. He runs so weird. I've never seen that in a game before. Even his walk's really weird. But anyway, this game's got so many weird little things. But anyway, game looks great. It's definitely AAA. The environments are, the layout might be one thing, but the environments are really good looking, especially later. There's a scene where I walked and saw this temple while the storm was happening. It looked really good. There's a couple times where I stopped and just kind of took in the environments, which I wasn't expecting. Combat is good, but I wish enemies reacted to when you hit them better, because a lot of times I felt like I was just hitting them until they were waiting to be able to hit me, and it didn't give me the feedback I was looking for. I didn't feel like I was staggering anybody, and you get abilities later where you can just throw them around and shit, but that could feel better. But it's fine. The dodging feels good though. The parrying feels good. The blocking feels good. I love being able to tap the block button when someone shoots at you and hit them with the laser. That's really dope. And later there's a dude that has like a machine gun. And you can just sit there and just keep tapping and knocking them back and stuff. So like it feels good in the sense that like you can deflect them, but also like that you have to actually interact with it.
Right.
Is cool. So yeah, the lightsaber fighting is fun though. I like it. even though I don't like Disney Star Wars, I am an old school Star Wars fan, so I'm a sucker for fighting with a lightsaber, and I think they did a really good job with it. Even though sometimes it can feel kind of off, but yeah, the lock on's weird too. This happened multiple times to me. I'd go to lock on to somebody, and it wouldn't lock on, but it also doubles as a camera reset button. So my camera just look away from the guy.
I did have that happen.
Yeah, it happened to me all the fucking time. Even like, an hour ago when I was playing to get footage, I was trying to lock on to somebody, and I guess I wasn't like 5 feet away from them, so it wouldn't do it, and it kept resetting it. And then someone was shooting at me, and I'm just getting hit. I'm like, oh my God, this is driving me crazy. So that's just something I got to get used to, but it could feel better, and a lot of games have done it better, so it's not that they can't. So yeah, anyway, that's one of those things. But yeah, combat's good. The abilities are cool as you get them. I just unlocked one where when you're running, you automatically deflect. So when I'm running, someone's shooting at me, my guy's just fucking swinging everywhere, and it kind of gives you this shield while you're running. So I dig that. I just unlocked the force push, which is fun. I love force push in any Star Wars game. Being able to throw people into stuff is really cool. And also there's these missile launcher guys. When they shoot missiles at you, you can throw the missile back at them.
That's nice. Yeah.
Which is dope. Yeah. So I'm like deflecting lasers and throwing missiles back at people, and you feel powerful. It feels really good. Kind of reminds me of Star Wars games of old that were good, because for a while there they couldn't make any good Star Wars games, but this one is good. The Dark Souls inspiration is interesting because this game's not hard like a Dark Souls game, but it has definite Dark Souls inspiration in the sense that it's lock-on combat. You're dodging around. I like the jump when you're locked onto somebody. If you jump, you do like these sideways jumps or backflips. It looks really cool. There's one time where somebody like shot the ground while standing. I backflipped out of it, and it just looked dope. So that was cool. So yeah, that's interesting. But it also has the bonfire system, which is weird. It has these meditation areas where you'll kneel down and you can restore your health, but that resets the area like in Dark Souls. But you can also like level up there and stuff. So obvious inspiration, but still feels more like just an action game, an action adventure game, than like a Dark Souls game. But it's definitely inspired by it. It's also inspired by it with its map layout. It's trying to have these paths, these intricate paths where they loop around and stuff. They're not as good as From Software with this though, and nobody is. So
that's a tall order to fill.
Yeah, so. Their design for maps is just immaculate. It's crazy. Neo does a good job too, but it's not as good. I mean, From Software is just like the king of that.
No.
But they do a good enough job. There's some areas where I was like, oh, it was interesting how that happened. The story's fine. I'm not a big fan of where Disney Star Wars has gone. I like that this is during the period that I more so enjoy, but it still has that like Disney feel to it. But it's not bad. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Environments, like the planets and stuff like that. I think it's neat. You go to different planets, you can go back to them. So like has that Metroidvania thing where like certain abilities will allow you to get into certain areas, and you're gonna have to go back to planets to explore them fully later. I like that. In this, it feels pretty good, and the planets are varied, which I like. The second planet's a lot better than the first one. I think I said Kashyyyk, the Wookiee place. I'm going to that next, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, I like the variety. That second place is like way better than the first one though. I was happy with that because at first I'm like, I don't really like the environments in this game.
Yeah.
But that was just that planet. Let's see. Upgrades are cool. Already went over that. Combat's good. I like the combat, even though it's kind of janky with the lock on. The AI thing is really weird. How they'll just disengage with you. I had these two guys chasing after me, shooting at me. I ran around a corner and fought these other guys, and the two guys who were chasing after me just stopped and started having like NPC conversations about where they're at and what they're doing right now. And I was just like, what the fuck? And I walked at them, and they turned at me and started shooting at me again. I'm like, okay, like I don't know what the hell that was about.
Yeah.
So not a big problem, but this is a AAA game, so I'm not used to seeing shit like that. A AAA game. It's like if I was playing Uncharted and that happened, I'd be like, what the hell is this?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, the stasis move's interesting. You get to slow down your environments or people, which is handy. And then the force push is R2. So you have R1, which is stasis, R2, which is force push. And I kind of like that they're separate buttons and not like a thing where you have to open a wheel and decide what you're going to use. I like that I have access to both of those. And yeah, leveling up, getting new abilities. So that's cool. What else am I missing? There's something else I want to talk about, and I can't remember. Yeah, overall though, I'm liking this game. I'm probably going to continue playing it. I think it's a quality game that has a lot of potential, and I'd like to beat it because I think the second one looks really good. And that was before I'd even played this, so I was like, that game's looking pretty dope. So I feel like I should probably play through this to be able to play it. But yeah, I liked it. It just has some really weird issues. But yeah, the environments are cool too. Like there's areas where you gotta like walk on a pipe or like hang off of it to get to certain areas, and then like in the second place there's like ice slides and stuff that are a lot of fun to slide down because you actually get to move on them and decide when to jump. It's not just like a set piece. But yeah, game's cool. I like it. I'm gonna keep playing it probably, but has some jank.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say on it?
No.
All right, fair enough. Let's jump into recommendations then. I'm going to say if you're a Star Wars fan of any era of Star Wars, I would recommend it to you. If you like lightsabers. One thing I didn't really talk about myself is the customization. I appreciate how much customization is in the game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always welcome.
There's a lot. I'm constantly just finding new stuff to decorate my character and my lightsaber, and like I kind of love that. So anyway, if you're a Star Wars fan, check this game out. If you're somebody who wants to build your own lightsaber in a game, check it out. It's pretty cool. You can even do that. If you like where Star Wars is going story-wise, I feel like you have to play this game because it's a pretty big chunk of where things are going since everything is connected now. I would definitely play for that. If you are a Soulsborne fan, if you like Souls-likes, I would lightly recommend this just because it definitely takes inspiration from it, but it's not challenging like a Souls-like game. So you're not going to play this game to conquer the bosses, but more so you're going to play it because you like the lock-on, dodge, parry mechanics of a Souls-like game.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it for that. If you like action-adventure games, if you like Uncharted, not The Last of Us, that's an action-adventure game, but there's like a lot of stealth in that. But yeah, if you like Uncharted-style games, cinematic games, big movie-like games that you're running around doing platforming, solving puzzles, I did this one puzzle with these marbles before you get the force push ability, and one of the puzzles was like super elaborate, and I'm not a puzzle guy, but like I actually kind of appreciated it because like like move these marbles around, move things up and down, and then like launch one of the marbles. It goes on a circuit that's like jumping around, and then you gotta like freeze it in stasis and do certain things, and like then you gotta break down a wall to get another marble in there. It was like a big puzzle. I was like, this is creative. This is kind of neat. So that's kind of weird for me to say because I don't like puzzle games. But yeah, if you like that whole Uncharted style game, I would recommend it. If you like lightsaber combat, definitely play this game because I think it's the best it's been in a long time. I really like it. It's pretty cool, even though the lock-on's weird. Yeah, anything you want to add?
I don't think I can. I think you pretty much got it.
Customization, if you like unlocking customization stuff. So, yeah, check it out. And I'm sure a lot of people already checked it out because I've been told a million times to play this game. And I understand. I understand. It's a quality game for sure. Grade it.
I don't think I can go higher than a B. I do think it's a good game. Not my wheelhouse, but it is a good game. There is things I think it could improve on, though, so I want to give it room to grow. I do think it deserves a sequel or a spin-off or whatever.
Yeah. I could easily see this being like a series.
Yeah, but as far as like, their adventure or they're diving into the genre, the style, etc. I think they did a good job. So I think a B is fair.
Yeah, I'm teeter-tottering, so I'm going to go with what I think is the most fair. I'm going to give this a really strong B+. I kind of wanted to give it an A- for the quality, but there's some weird things that come up a lot, and I also feel like I need to give myself room to finish the game to finally give it like a final grade. But where I'm at right now, I would easily give a strong B+. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the best Star Wars games I've played in a while, which is saying something. And I'm really enjoying it for the most part. Even with the glitchy stuff, it's a really high quality game. And I kind of like that it's so inspired by multiple genres of games. It's creative feeling. It doesn't just feel like it's trying to be like the next Uncharted or the next Dark Souls game. It's kind of blending things, and there's a lot of creativity in the moves and how you can play it, that I can even push the missile back and hit people. Those kind of small details.
For sure.
I thought about it. I was like, can I do that? And I did it. Boom. And it got hit. I was like, that's fucking dope. Love that. So it's a Respawn game. It's fun to play. That's what Respawn does. They make awesome, fun games with cool ideas, and it's no different here. So yeah, easy B+. I'd like to give it something higher, but I'll wait till I finish the game. Anything else you want to say?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Have you played it? And if you have, what do you think of it? If you haven't played it, why aren't you playing it? And if you've played this game and finished it, should I finish it? Do I got to beat it? Because I've heard a lot of people say it's great. And let me know your general thoughts of the game and all the games we talked about. But that's going to do it for this episode of Plus Club for January. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check out our streams and socials linked down below. And check out our Patreon if you'd like to support the channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing if you're brand new. And we have a Discord if you'd like to talk to us anytime, all the time. Check that out down below. And I have a TikTok link down below if you want to see my shorts there. I got that out of order, so it's like, where do I go from here? I got confused there for a second. It's fine. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Thank you, Chevy, for joining me, and thank you guys for joining us for this conversation until the next episode, which should be us talking about Celasta on Game of the Month. Definitely join that conversation. Have a good one, guys, and take it easy.